Hey kids, there's free candy in my dingy white van. Step on in and don't tell your parents. That's something that might have been said by Anthony Gagne, perhaps better known by his online username Gagnepower, or perhaps even better known as the fool that attempted to have the FBI pay him a visit. From 2021 until 2023, he had an ongoing series where he'd attempt to do pranks and engage in various controversial activities until the FBI put him on their radar.
Trying to get the FBI at my door? The 100.
Most of the time, what he'd do was relatively tame. He'd make suspicious videos such as Googling how to make dangerous weapons like Molotov cocktails and napalm bombs, or he'd light fires in his backyard. But as time went on, he started generating a small following and started getting more extreme. The more extreme he got, the more views he'd get, which only motivated him to go further and further down the rabbit hole. He then starts faking crime online, claiming that he's actually broken the law when in reality he's lying. But his audience don't know this for certain. And so eventually, the FBI is actually getting reports about this guy. The problem is though that the FBI is an American security service and Gagnepower lives in Gatineau, across the river from Ottawa in Canada. Therefore, the FBI can't investigate him, and Gagne knows this. He created an infinite content series. Or at least, he thought. Because the FBI, upon receiving several reports about him, decide to contact local law enforcement who pay him a visit and tell him to stop what he's doing. Gagne though doesn't listen. In fact, he doubles down and even goes as far as throwing a fake dead body in his bins and driving around the local area within a suspicious white van that reads free candy. Gagnepower went as far as to insinuate that he was a literal child predator for internet clout. Unfortunately for Gagne though, his free candy van was spotted by a concerned member of the community who decided to report it to local authorities. They soon realized that it was the same man that they had cautioned for doing this kind of thing not too long ago, and upon further digging, they found his digital footprint. His social media accounts, now having more than 500,000 subscribers, were essentially a shrine to his mission to waste police time. Gagne was charged with public mischief, but even worse for him, as part of his release, it was stipulated that he had to stop making these sorts of videos. His TikTok account seems to have been terminated from the platform, and while his YouTube channel is still up, it's much smaller than his TikTok, only having 11,000 subscribers. And since his flagship series is now legally unable to continue, his followers no longer have a reason to watch him. But he's just the first of several Canadian YouTubers that we're going to talk about today. Still to come, we have the humiliated one, the predatory one, and the psychotic one. This is the latest video in my Country-versies series, but since the first two videos didn't perform that well, it really pains me to say this, but it might be my last. Canadians, I need you guys to go to bat for me. Or in your case, to hockey stick. If this video receives more than 4,000 likes and over 100,000 views, I'll pour maple syrup all over my shirtless body on Instagram, so go follow me there for some borderline fetish content. To keep the series alive, make sure to share this video with any and every Canadian you know, or just anyone you think would like it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below which country I should do next. With that said, let's continue the video with a less intense tale before we build into darker stories, kicking it off with Brendan McMartin, who back in February 2025 was arrested on Vancouver Island after being caught going almost twice the legal speed limit. Ironically, McMartin has none other than a car channel. He has quite an iconic bright yellow GTR that he shows off in his videos and shorts. And it was in that GTR that he goes speeding one cold Canadian night, being pulled over by an officer who promptly gave him a ticket, and in true Canadian fashion, later decided to give him a ride to Tim Hortons in order to keep him warm while his car was being impounded. For McMartin, a dangerous situation would soon become a humiliating one, as details regarding the infringement would be leaked by himself. He started recording himself while all of this was happening.
Well, we just got pulled over for apparently doing 150, and he says he read me with a laser. I have a radar detector with laser, and that thing is spot on, never misses it. Laser did not go off, radar did not go off. He says he got me. I need some proof of it, so I'll ask for his laser proof. And car is getting impounded apparently.
Within the video, he revealed that this all happened while he was on a first date, which would be slightly embarrassing in itself, but to top it all off, McMartin would be collected at Tim Hortons by his mum.
Now I have my mom coming all the way from Black Creek. It's like an hour and a half drive. Come pick myself and lady that I actually just met about 15 minutes ago. I did one pull. This is the first pull I did with her, and sure enough, there was a cop on the side of the road that I didn't see. He got me with a laser, and he did have proof of me doing 150. So, couldn't argue with it.
He would release a follow-up video discussing the incident after the fact, and in all fairness to McMartin, he was a very good sport about it all. He was extremely polite in a way that Canadians are very much known for, almost acting as a bit of a stereotype in honesty. He was very upfront about the fact that what he did was dangerous and wrong, but his response showed a clear lack of ego and willingness to own up to his mistakes, which many members of his audience and other people that saw the story could respect. In fact, this could be an example of an extremely rare instance where someone making a response video might have actually gained subscribers. This story is perhaps the definition of what one might imagine when they think of a Canadian YouTube controversy, but for the remainder of this video, we have nothing but the worst the great country of Canada has to offer. For example, Stephen Blackwood, who was 37 years old when reports of his misdeeds went public in early 2023. His online alias is Blamzooka, and if you look him up, you can find his channel still active on YouTube, home to roughly 30,000 subscribers, as well as 75 videos. Now, if you take a look at these videos, you'll notice that a lot of them seem to be him filming vlogs around beaches and pools and the like, often featuring young people in the thumbnails with him. While innocuous enough upon first glance, in early 2023, reports came out that would make this extremely disturbing in retrospect because it was reported that Blackwood was charged with SA and other serious offences. The story goes that in November 2022, an investigation was opened into him after he was seen videotaping children in hotel pools. Upon digging deeper, it was soon revealed that between late October and early November 2022, he was a substitute teacher at schools within the Anglophone East District. He had direct access to children and would allegedly use this to his advantage. He was accused of SA and sexual interference in connection with an incident at the school in November 2022. The allegations kept coming as the Pandora's box opened wider and wider, and it was soon discovered that Blackwood had committed similar offences in the Moncton region, with these dating back as far as 2018. Coincidentally, if you look back on his channel to 2018, around this time there was a lot of content published. From there on out, every summer he would publish several of these sorts of videos on his channel, and so it's now speculated that these videos, predominantly featuring teenage males in swimming trunks, aren't as innocent as perhaps they once seemed. If you look at the comment section of his most recent video, it's filled to the brim with people telling him to record prison vlogs or making the claim that they're former students at Blackwood. In December 2023, Blackwood pled guilty to charges of assault, failing to comply with bail conditions, sexually touching minors, and voyeurism. But Blackwood wouldn't even be the most notorious Canadian YouTuber that's had sex crimes levied against him. Meet David Rock, known on YouTube as Davidsfarm. To some, he was an OG of the platform, starting his channel within the first few years of its existence and reaching 80,000 subscribers as well as more than 90 million views by June 2010. His videos mainly consisted of himself and his guests doing cool stuff with the vehicles on his farm. He'd use his engineering skills to rig up cars in unique ways and then invited his fans to come visit him. But while he was an OG to some, he was a wolf in sheep's clothing to others, as in mid-2010 it was revealed that years before his channel was founded, all the way back to 1992, David Rock pled guilty to 7 charges of sexually exploiting children. According to a source that was published around the time this information surfaced, he also admitted to videotaping 2 teenage boys, encouraging them to touch themselves. David Rock came under a lot of criticism at the time, as at the end of the day, having a person convicted of sex crimes invite young fans up to his isolated farm is a recipe for disaster. That said, many of his fans did defend him, considering that the main allegations happened back in the early 90s. Flash forward to 2010 though, and David Rock became one of the first people in YouTube history to have their channel terminated, which angered a lot of his fans. Comments left about the incident, for the most part, seemed to back Rock. But this position would be much more difficult to defend 6 years later though, as in January 2016, it was reported that David Rock would be spending 9 months in prison after being caught with CP. He would eventually be released, and in February 2022 would once again begin uploading content onto YouTube, this time onto a new channel that's actually fully monetized. It's possible that YouTube doesn't know that this is the same guy they terminated 15 years ago, or maybe because he served his time, YouTube has allowed him back into the partner program, but nonetheless, he still uploads, albeit to a much smaller, yet fiercely loyal audience. sense. But sticking with only the worst that Canadian YouTube has to offer, we arrive at the channel of Dollyflesh, a YouTuber infamous online for his past actions, which were as shocking as they were truly disgusting. Viral videos discussing him have been made by such creators as Turkey Tom and myself. He featured in a video I published years ago about Terminated YouTube channels, which you can watch after this video ends if you want a more in-depth explanation about his background. But cutting to the chase, the now 24-year-old Canadian, real name Leighton LaBute, created a YouTube channel called Misery Magic back in the mid-2010s. On this channel, he'd upload stop-motion animations, all of which included very creepy imagery, often of gore and dismemberment. It's tough to understate just how creepy some of these stop-motion animations were. In another life, he could have had a future as a horror short filmmaker. But in this life, it would be very tough to do that, considering how in 2019, he tweeted that he was going to buy some hamsters. Within a week of this, he would upload a video where he absolutely mutilated these poor little pets. Without going into specifics, these hamsters deserved better. They died in an extremely brutal and sickening fashion. The video would be immediately taken down, and the police would be promptly informed. But many people have criticised the police for their inactivity because they wouldn't act for an entire year, with Leighton finally being arrested in May 2020. This was a clear-cut case of animal cruelty, to say the very least. He apparently showed little remorse for his actions, but upon his trial in 2021, actually avoided any prison time, instead being given an 18-month conditional sentence, which is the equivalent of 18 months of house arrest, as well as a minimum of 3 years of probation. Additionally, he was given a curfew between 9 at night and 6 in the morning. To many people, this was quite a lenient sentence. Looking into the case, the torture method of these hamsters was premeditated, and there have been many theories as to why he did it. Leighton lives as almost a dark folktale within his hometown of Kelowna now, with many people that knew him, or people that knew him, taking to the internet on such videos as my own to try and fill in some of the gaps, and try and paint a more clear picture of this clearly troubled individual. As it's now 2025, going on 4 years since his trial, if he's not already, Dollyflesh will very soon have his probation over. And I hope I've won you over with this video. If you've enjoyed this, I'd love it if you could check out one of the other videos I made in my Country-versies series. I made a similar video about Japan and one about India. Click here to check them out now. I guarantee if you love this, you'll love them too. Also, let me know down in the comments, if the series does continue, which country should I cover next? Aside from that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.